I'm Miss Lowe, one of the young adult librarians at the Tinley Park Public Library. Mrs. Pelzarski, the other young adult librarian, and I obviously love reading young adult books. But we also really love reading middle grade books. Middle grade books are generally aimed at 4th through 7th graders approximately. And they offer just as much excitement and entertainment and depth of emotion as do young adult books, but with slightly less angst. Today we have 10 middle grade books to recommend to you that we think adults will love. We hope you agree.
All the Greys on Green Street by Laura Tucker is an historical fiction novel that takes place in Soho, Lower Manhattan, New York City in 1981. It takes place in during a time period when old factory spaces were being converted into lots specifically so they could be rented out to artists. Ollie is our main character, and her parents are artists. Her mom is a sculptor that makes creations that are larger than life made out of found objects, while her dad, alongside his business partner, restores historical art pieces. This book is a lot of things. It's part art theft mystery, it's lessons about art history, it's depictions of Soho before gentrification, and it's also an honest look at what it's like to live with a family member with severe mental illness. What's interesting about this book is that although the main character is a child, the other characters who are adults in the novel are just as intriguing and interesting. And it's what it's like to find out when you're a child that the adults in your life are just as flawed and as human as you are. I listened to this book half on audio when I was raking leaves last fall, and it really transported me to a different time and place.
Green Glass House by Kate Milford is a middle grade mystery starring 12-year-old Milo. Milo and his parents run a hotel called the Smuggler's Inn. It's Christmas time, and that's usually their slowest time of the year, but for some reason every room at the inn is booked by a strange assortment of characters. Even though this mystery is aimed at children, I still found it an engrossing and entertaining puzzle to solve.
Arasha and the End of Time by Roshni Chokshi is part of the Rick Riordan Presents series, and it's for anyone that really likes mythology-based fantasies. Ara lives with her museum curator mother above a museum dedicated to ancient Indian art and culture. She goes on an epic adventure after she accidentally awakens an ancient Indian spirit who freezes time and may potentially cause the end of the world. The book draws upon the Mahabharata, which is one of 2 famous Hindu epic poems. Chokshi's modern tale is witty, funny, and thrilling, and this is the first book in a quartet.
House Arrest by K.A. Holt is the story of 12-year-old Timothy, who has just been sentenced to 1 year house arrest for stealing a wallet to pay for his younger brother's medication. This is a slim volume written in verse, so it's a quick read and easily consumed in one sitting, which I almost guarantee you will want to do.
Some Places More Than Others by Renee Watson is a story about family, friendship, and finding yourself. Amara visits her family in Harlem in New York City after years of wanting to learn more about her extended family. However, when she gets here, it's not quite what she expected, as she finds out that the relationships with her father and his extended family are quite complicated. When she gets to Harlem, though, she learns about the history, art, and culture from the place where her family is from. Watson is truly gifted when she writes about everyday life, and her characters always feel really real and honest. This book is ultimately a beautiful celebration of family, culture, and find your roots.
The Marvels by Brian Selznick is a relatively large book told mainly through very detailed illustrations made by Mr. Selznick and relatively little text. So don't be put off by the size, it's a pretty quick read. It alternates between 2 storylines, that of a family of actors known as the Marvels, and the other story is about a boy named Joseph who has run away from school and is seeking refuge at his uncle's house in London. Both storylines are thoroughly engaging and enjoyable.
Summer of a Thousand Pies by Margaret Gilloway is the perfect book for summer and the perfect book for anyone that loves to read about food. Katie is our main character. She's sent to live with an aunt she didn't know existed until very recently, after years of living on the streets with her father. She works through a lifetime of trauma by making new friends in her new environment and also learning the art and discipline of making pies by hand in her aunt's pie shop. This book is all about small, cozy town living and it's a heartwarming and hopeful tale in the face of real fear and adversity. I also really recommend this book to fans of the Great British Baking Show, and the show actually features pretty prominently in the book as well.
One Crazy Summer by Rita Williams Garcia is the story of 11-year-old Delphine and her 2 younger sisters who are sent from Brooklyn to Oakland, California to spend the summer of 1968 with the mother they barely know. Through their mother, who is an activist, the girls wind up involved in the political turmoil of the day. I found this a completely engrossing piece of historical fiction, and I'm very excited that there are 2 more books after it, so if you enjoy this one, there's more stories involving Delphine and her sisters for you to enjoy.
The Vanderbeekers of 141st Street by Karina Yan Glazer somehow manages to be both nostalgic and contemporary at the same time. It follows in the tradition of older middle grade fiction that's all about large families with smart, kind, and funny children who each have their own talents and personalities. The book takes place in Harlem and New York City, and through Glazer's perspective, it turns into a cozy and colorful neighborhood. The Vanderbeekers cause all sorts of hilarious mischief in their attempts to help and do the right thing. This is the first book in the series, and the 4th book actually comes out this fall.
The War That Saved My Life by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley is the story of Ada and her younger brother Jamie, 2 London children who were evacuated to the countryside during the German blitzkrieg of World War II. Prior to the evacuation, Ada had never left their 1-room apartment. Her mother considered her deformed and was ashamed for anyone to see her. I found this book extremely moving, and I highly recommend having some tissues handy. We hope that you take a chance and read these 10 middle grade books and that you enjoy them. If you do, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are a ton more middle grade books out there, and the Youth Services librarians would be happy to recommend more. Give us a call or visit us online, and we'll be happy to help you. Thanks, guys. Have a great day and stay well.